Well, hello there, folks. We want to welcome you to the first ever Josh McKinney Sports Show. We've got the Super Bowl 47 reaction for you today. Now, this is my first podcast, so we might be a little, we'll say interesting, a little off kilter a little bit today. Still learning here. I'd like to thank the folks at Spreaker.com for giving me this platform. But it was a very memorable Super Bowl last night. Super Bowl 47 went to the Baltimore Ravens 34-31. They defeated the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of storylines. Obviously, I've said often before this Super Bowl took place that it's just Hollywood couldn't write a better script than this, and the game certainly lived up to the billing. There was all kinds of stuff going on. We had the power went out, half the stadium, the lights, all on San Francisco's side of the field, just all of a sudden went off just after halftime, and an over half-hour delay from that, just something you've never seen, obviously, and a lot of the Ravens, especially, were angry. Really turned the game around. They were up 28-6 at that point. 49ers really struggling back on their heels, but it kind of changed the momentum. The Ravens had all of it, and then after that, the 49ers made a game of it, and but the Ravens were able to, in the end, get it done. A goal line stand there in the fourth quarter. Just a few minutes left. They were able to stop the 49ers 4 straight times, but not without controversy. We saw the 49ers coach, Jim Harbaugh, was just going berserk on the sidelines, looking for a holding call there at the end, which was not called on Michael Crabtree. Myself, I thought both guys were pushing off. I can see how the 49ers might be upset. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game in American sports, obviously. So I can see the anger. But, I thought both guys were pushing off. I thought it was a good no call. And I would have been just absolutely angry to have seen a call there. I was cheering for the Ravens. I really wanted to see them get it done, but at the same time, I didn't see it. Stephen A. Smith, I watched today on First Take, he and Skip Bayless debating, and Skip thought the 49ers got robbed. Stephen A., I agree with his assessment. Both guys are pushing off. I think it's a good no call in that situation. And, but speaking of Jim Harbaugh, obviously we had the whole story of he and his brother John, his older brother John, just 15 months apart, were the head coaches coaching against each other. And so that was just a really interesting plot line there. We had a great story, something you've never seen, and it was fun to watch. Obviously John outcoached his little brother last night, and pretty much the entire game. Both of them they're very similar. They're very, very good play callers, both of them. But John outplayed his brother last night, and he has done so now several times, more often than the other has occurred. But congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens. Ray Lewis, the linebacker for the Ravens, obviously is another huge story coming out of this Super Bowl. This entire postseason has pretty much been the Ray Lewis show. It's been Ray's last ride, and last night, I tweeted during the game, is this Ray's last stand whenever the Ravens were back on their heels for kind of almost the first time in the entire game. There were the 49ers were getting ready to drive and try to take the lead, and they had to do that goal line stand there. And I said, I said at the time, this would not be the first time the Ravens have done a goal line stand. It's not going to shock me at all. And that's what happened. And what a way for Ray to end it, after the game. Once again, thing I really respect about Ray is giving God the glory, saying, if God is for you, who can be against you? And just basically giving credit to him. And, a lot of people are discussing, it's been a huge story, does God care about a football game? And, I would say to that, I've always thought, that's a very debatable question. But obviously, if something happens, it's got to be God's will, good or bad. If God allows something to happen, we have free will, obviously, but God knows what's going to happen beforehand. And so God obviously knew the Ravens were going to win. And so, if Ray feels that way, I don't feel an ounce of, I don't feel like you should argue with that. That's just the way he feels, and he's got amazing faith. He's inspired this team, a 17-year career. I say the best middle linebacker to ever play the game. And a lot of people agree. He's certainly up there in the top 3 or 4 for sure. I can't argue with anybody who says that. I agree with the fact that he is, the greatest leader that sports has ever seen. And I agree with that assessment. I think Ray he's just done an incredible job of inspiring his team for so many years, and especially here when he announced his retirement. He came back from an injury. He had torn tendons. Torn in his right arm, and people said, the doctor looked at him and told him, this is it. And Ray pretty much said, this is not it. He said, has anybody ever come back from this? The doctor said no. And Ray said, I'm going to. Basically, he looked at the doctor and said, I'm coming back. And he missed the rest of the regular season from October on, but came back for the first playoff game in Baltimore, his final home game it ended up being, and they defeated the Colts. And then the next week, they defeat the Denver Broncos, led by Peyton Manning, in an incredible game, like a double overtime thriller, just back and forth the entire way. And then the following week, they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. Once again, they were underdogs, as they were all postseason long, especially the last 3 games. But they beat Tom Brady, just absolutely destroyed the Patriots in the second half of that ball game. So that led them into the Super Bowl 2 weeks later last night, and once again they get the job done. Looks like they're going to win it going away. They're underdogs again, but 49ers come, they press, but the Ravens are able to get it done. And Ray's story's been amazing. It's not without controversy, obviously. He's a polarizing figure. People have gotten angry about him bringing the name of God in because, 13 years ago, it was said that, he got away with murder, is what people were saying. There were 2 men that were found, or 2 people were found dead at a nightclub, and Ray and a couple of friends, he said, I was in the wrong place, the wrong time, with the wrong people. There's never been any evidence, that he was the one that did it. And, I say, even if he did, which I don't believe he did, I believe his story, wrong place, wrong time, the wrong people. But at the same time, even if he did do it, God forgives. I truly believe that. I truly believe that Ray's a new man, and he's shown that. He's proven that. And I just truly believe that, you know, he's a living example of the growth that a man can go through. And, you know, they had the deer antler spray story come out, saying some guy trying to say that he had used deer antler spray. You know, I don't believe that either, to come back from his injury. You know, obviously he's never failed tests in his career for drug tests. Random drug testing happens all the time in football, and, you know, he's never been said to be guilty. Such a thing, excuse me. You know, we've got plenty more to talk about with this Super Bowl. Hope there haven't been too many hiccups here today on this show. Had a little thing here with the DJ console. I thought, you know, something was going on. It kind of stopped, and there may not have been any audio there for a few seconds because I was a little confused. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with some more discussion of last night's Super Bowl 47. Be right back. We do welcome you back here to the Josh McKinney Sports Show, Super Bowl 47 reaction. Once again, still learning the ins and outs of Spreaker here. So this first show, a little rough at spots. Sorry for that. As we go along, I hope that won't be the case as much. Have an issue sometimes with the freezing and not knowing if I'm on the air or not. Trying to get that figured out. I think for the most part it's went fairly smoothly. As we go, we'll learn things more. But we do welcome you back. Sorry for the pause there. Another story last night, a little lighthearted story of Super Bowl commercials. We're going to talk about. You know, I've always been a fan of Super Bowl commercials. I've liked a lot of the funny ones. I used to love the Budweiser frogs. But I got to say, last night kind of underwhelming. You know, I think a lot of people agree that there weren't a whole lot of great Super Bowl ads last night. You know, a lot of people were grossed out by the Bar Raffaelli with the nerd in the GoDaddy.com commercial. I can see, you know, I heard it took 65 takes for that, and I'm pretty sure the guy probably screwed up on purpose. And, you know, for any American male out there, I'm sure you probably agree. You might do the same thing. You know, I'm in a very committed relationship myself. Love my girlfriend, and, you know, so that's not for me. But I can see how any guy would say, Bar Raffaelli, supermodel, you know, hey, you know, who can blame the guy? But I will say my favorite commercial of the night had to have been the Dodge Ram God Made a Farmer ad, using some Bible verses there in a different way, and I really enjoyed that. But usually I like funny commercials for the Super Bowl, and this year there weren't a whole lot of funny ones. The Doritos fan ads, we saw the two finalists, which I heard they win $1 million, as well as a chance to go work with Michael Bay on the next Transformers movie a little bit. So, you know, one of the finalists, I know the one where the little girl got all the guys to dress up as, you know, in women's clothing, put makeup on, and that was a pretty funny ad. I really, you know, that guy's from North Carolina, actually, my home state. So, you know, I was kind of pulling for him. The other Doritos ad with the goat was very funny. That's going to be a tough one to beat in that contest. Those got a few chuckles out of me. I think another ad that came